If you've been thinking about launching a podcast, let me save you from the traps that take most new podcasters out before episode 4. Hey friends, it's Demetria. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I help creators build soulful, purpose-driven podcasts that actually connect with people. And today we're cutting to the chase to talk about some mistakes that podcasters make in the beginning. And honestly, I want you to skip every single one of these mistakes. It's not worth it for you. I promise you. And most of these mistakes aren't even about gear and tools and things like that. They're actually mistakes regarding mindset, planning, and clarity. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss my next videos. And let's get into it. Mistake number 1 is trying to wing it with no clear purpose. Don't do that, my friend. Don't do it. You need to know why you're starting your podcast, who you're trying to reach, and why you want to reach those people. Because those people are your people, and you want to be talking directly to them in your podcast. So you need to ask yourself a few questions like, why does my show exist? Who am I serving? And what do I want to be offering my audience in every single episode? Because honestly, if you don't know, then your listener surely doesn't know. So you need to know what your podcast is about, who it's for, the purpose of your show, and what you plan to do, hopefully. What is the result that you want to get from having a podcast? And how do you want your listeners to feel? How do you want them to respond? What should they be doing? What actions should they be taking as a result of listening to your podcast? Once you're clear on your purpose, everything will fall into place, I promise you. Your tone, your topics, your episodes, your titles, the descriptions, everything that you need to make a really good and successful episode is going to happen because of your clarity. So how to avoid clarity confusion, write down a 1-sentence mission statement. And do this for your podcast before you create any episodes. I promise you it's going to make a huge difference in how you approach your show. Mistake number 2 is overcomplicating the gear. Let's just be real. You don't need to have an official over-the-top studio. I don't. I have my music equipment because I'm a music teacher, and I have like a lot of curriculum here. And then in front of me is my one Blue Yeti mic, which I shared on my last podcast. So this is a very, very simple microphone. You need a headset. In addition to that external mic, you need a quiet room, and you need free or inexpensive software so that you can edit. And there are free software out there. There's Audacity. If you don't have anything else, start with that. It's free. And that makes your equipment investment really minimal. And if you want to go all out and you want to have more and you need a little extras because maybe you're interviewing guests and you guys are sharing equipment, then there's some other things you can think about that will be a part of your podcast planning. But for the most part, if you're a solo podcaster, you don't have to start with very much. You can always update later. You can always invest in new things later, but start with what you have. And then if you don't have the basics, go out and get those basics and find good deals so that you're not spending a boatload of money. Don't overcomplicate the audio part of this process. Mistake number 3, a lot of podcasters make in the beginning is because they're so excited about starting a new show that they tend to get on the microphone and just kind of ramble because, of course, they want to share, this is who I am, this is my life, this is what my purpose is, and what I hope this show will be about. But the first couple of episodes end up being really loosey-goosey and rambly. And so I've noticed that. And I would love to see you do something different when you start your show. So if you haven't already and you're planning to start, remember, try to keep yourself on track so that you are leading with purpose on your shows so that your audience is not confused about where you're going with your episodes. Remember, you want to lead people into the final destination, which is to keep coming back to your episodes and to subscribe to you and listen to you week after week because they know where you're going and they feel that energy that's leading them to the results of what they're going to get by listening to your show. Now, if your show is rambly, they don't know what they're getting and they're not going to spend time listening to something where they don't don't know what that end result is. So make it very clear where you're taking your listener. What journey are they going on, right? Make it clear for them. So I recommend a simple workflow on your podcast. You first want to start with an introduction or a simple welcome, right? Just introducing people to your show and what it is you do, who you are, and how you hope to help them on your podcast. The second thing is you might also want a quick hook. You don't always have to have a hook. I don't always, but sometimes it can be helpful, especially on videos. But for my audio podcast, I don't always have a hook. I usually just do an intro and get straight into the content. The third thing is your main point. So 1 to 3 to 5 main points, maybe a few more depending on how in-depth and meaty your episodes are, but get to the point. Right? So you might have a few ad placements here and there, and that's later as your podcast grows and gets more sustaining power. Then you start adding in those ads, right? But maybe not so much at the beginning. And so just get into those main points and segments that you want to share with your audience. Then you want to do a recap. You don't always have to, but it's nice to kind of recap what they are to take from the show. So give those few takeaways. And lastly, you want a call to action or CTA right before your outro. So your CTA is going to deliver the very next thing that you want your listener to do. Where do you want to take that listener? What do you want them to do as a result of having listened to you for 10, 15 minutes? What are they supposed to do with that? Tell them what to do. You can't just leave it up to the gods to figure it out for you and deliver it to your listener. You have to tell them, hey, go ahead and subscribe to my mailing list, or go ahead and download my free product that I'm offering for a limited time, or sign up for a get to know you chat with me, or subscribe and comment and listen and download, all those things, right? Those call to actions, make sure you put that in there so they know what to do. All right, mistake number 4 is being inconsistent, just kind of being all over the place, and we don't want that. So what we want you to do is once you start your podcast, you should have already figured out at this point what days and times are best for you to record, what days and times are best for you to edit, and go ahead and start a schedule that fits and flows into your typical lifestyle as of today. Don't think that you're going to rearrange your entire life to start podcasting. You need to know how your life is now in relation to this new activity that you're bringing into your life. And you need to have a realistic view about how much time this might possibly take for you. So on another video, I can get into nuts and bolts of how this works for me. I'm a busy woman, a mom of a daughter who's in high school and has loads of high school things right now that I have to help with as she's about to graduate. And so we're busy with that, but we're also, I'm pretty busy with teaching at several schools and studios, and in my home, I teach music. And I've got a lot of brands that I'm running right now. So I am busy, but I have to fit podcasting in because that's really important for me. So on another video, I might show you my day in the life and what that looks like for me. But I just want to give you a few tips. How can you bring this into your life? Well, first off, choose a schedule that works for you, not for what your friend who's podcasting is doing, because their life is different. So what works for you? If you're an early morning person, maybe you get up and you record early AM. If you are a late night person, maybe you're editing late at night, right? And then maybe you're doing some of this stuff on your lunch break. Maybe you're editing in between times when you don't have much else to do and some downtimes, because different parts of podcasting take different spaces in your brain. So you have to know how to manage the whole podcasting process depending on what your life looks like. The second thing is to batch record when you can. So like I'm doing right now, I'm batching a few different videos at one time, and later on I'll be editing those. And then thirdly, you want to stay a few episodes ahead. So just make sure that you're not falling way behind, right? That way you're not last minute trying to come up with content. So if you do a couple up front and load them in ahead of time, then you will be set. You'll have maybe weeks worth of content that you've created in just one day. So see how that schedule is for you. So do you want to be uploading once a week? Maybe you're doing one interview one week and then maybe a solo episode the next week. So that means if you were to pre-record 2 solo episodes in one day and then maybe record your guests on another day, then you've already taken care of a month's worth of content in 2 days if you're only publishing those episodes once per week. So think about your life and how everything's structured around that, and just be very confident that you can do this work. It's really not that difficult. You just have to know what works for you and fall into a routine or rhythm that will be perfect for your lifestyle. And my last and final tip for you is skipping the listener experience is a mistake that a lot of podcasters make, unfortunately. You have to think about what the listening in looks like for them and how their experience is. So are you giving them what they came for? Did you promise them to share some tips with them and at the end of the episode you didn't share that at all, right? That's really a big turnoff. They're not going to come back and listen if you're not showing integrity, if you're not following through with what you promised. So what problem are you solving? And does your audience know? Are they aware that you're trying to solve this problem? Like on my podcasting, I talk about how to solve the problems of a podcaster who's very busy. And I often talk to women podcasters. So I talk about how to integrate your daily routines and even your physical and mental well-being with podcasting. How does that work as a solopreneur, as a business owner, an entrepreneur? And so they know that I'm solving those particular problems for them by sharing my experience and whatever wisdom I could have accumulated over 20 years. I want to share that with them, right? And so that's what I'm here for. And that's how I approach solving the problems of podcasters. What is your approach? What problems are you solving on your podcast? What transformation do you want your listener to achieve and to experience? Figure that out. How do you want to take them from point A to the next part of the journey and all the way to the end, point Z, whatever that point is? How do you want to take them there? That journey is what your listener needs to feel confident that they can hold your hand and you'll get them where they need to be. So what you want to do is fill in the blank. After listening to my episode, I want my audience to fill in the blank, right? And write that statement and make it very, very clear for yourself so that every episode that you publish makes sense for you and definitely makes sense for your listener. So those are the 5 major mistakes that I see podcasters making that I want to help you to avoid. And if this information has been helpful to you as an up-and-coming podcaster, I would love it if you would hit that bell and subscribe to this channel and hit the like button so YouTube knows that you want more of this kind of content. And if you're ready to start your podcast with confidence, then hit me up in the links below to see how I can be of support to you. The link is in the description. And don't forget to subscribe also to my mailing list for more podcasting tips like this and for more insider insights. I would love to have you on my list. And I share so much every single week with my subscribers. So go ahead and join that. Links in the description. And thanks for hanging out with me today. There's another video coming up. And so I invite you to stay tuned and watch the rest of this playlist. Talk later. Bye.